it is undefined.
Okay. So what ways that undefined value get be assigned to that variable? How that variable will get undefined only? Why not null or blank screen or something? Blank value.
Uh, so it's part of hoisting, like if we have the variable, say where we declared var a in line number
Mhm.
10, and we are using it before it, we are calling it. So the variable still exists, but it has a value called undefined. That's the way JavaScript behaves.
Okay. So, okay. So if I create a variable with a let, then what will happen?
It will not be hoisted, so it'll throw an error that the variable
Okay.
doesn't exist.
So, okay. So if I create one variable with a let at line number one, and if
Hmm.
I assign that variable with a new value at line number five, so what do you know about the temporal dead zone of the variable?
Like in between these statements, like from the place where the variable has been declared to the variable assignment.
So it is applicable for where as well.
Mm, no, let and const has this, but var is a global scope variable, so it has its thing before itself.
So where is a global scope?
Yes, I mean functional scope.
And if I want to create a variable as a global scope, then how can I create?
Create it at the top level using var.
No, I'm saying I want to
Mm,
create a global variable.
mm, no, I'm not sure.
Okay. So if I want to create a global variable, so we don't have to pass var let anything. It will be global.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So what is the reference error in the JavaScript?
Like if you're referencing a variable which doesn't exist, like in the case of let, if you are referencing it before it is declared, then it throws a reference error. Or if you don't have that variable at all.
Okay. So yeah. So do you know how the inheritance happens in the JavaScript? How it works?
Mm, yeah, I think yes.
Okay. Can you please tell me about it?
Mm, like if we are extending anything, it inherits all its parent properties.
How we
Uh, uh,
extend?
prototype using prototypal inheritance, like
Okay.
the object dot prototype equals to.
Mhm. So what exactly prototype does?
It inherits all the properties of the parent one.
Okay. Any other thing about prototype? What it does exactly?
Mm,
Okay, suppose
mm,
you have an
mm,
object, okay? In
mm,
that
mm,
you have first name and last name only, and you want
mm.
to add new key in the variable in the that object. So how can you add that?
Object dot uh, assign or object dot add. I think.
No. See, you have first name and last name with a name,
Mm,
oh, sorry, the person object, okay? And you want to add now contact number to it. So three will be key over there, first name, last name, and contact in the
mm,
object itself
yes.
object. No need to create another object that I'm saying. So how can you add dynamically a new key in the object that I'm asking?
We can directly say person dot contact equals to this one.
Yes. So this is the example of prototype.
Okay, yeah.
Because of that prototype, we can able to access all this thing.
Add. Mm.
Okay. So what is this in the JavaScript?
It refers to the context actually, like with the object that we are calling or so.
Okay. Any other thing?
Mhm.
What is the problem with this?
Uh, Problem with this in the sense like for example in the class, if you have a class and if you have some functions in it, we need to explicitly bind this to that function to access I mean when you have created an instance for it, then using that instance, if we have to call that function, then we have to bind this.
Okay. 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 So what is promise all?
Uh, Promise all is one of the construct that is used like it returns another promise, either resolves or reject. Either it resolves or reject based upon all the promises it has. It takes array of promises. Like only if all of them resolves, then it will also resolve. It just waits or it just sees if one of the promise rejects, then it entirely rejects.
Okay, so in that case, suppose you have five promises, okay, and the
Hmm.
first one get failed.
So
Okay,
it fails.
so yeah, yeah, so it will fail, correct. So what you will get value of the all of the five or only one?
Only one it says rejected one.
Okay, okay. So do you know the use of async await?
Yes, to call the function asynchronously
Okay,
and wait
so
on that call. Yeah.
mhm. So await we have to use default as while calling a synchronous function or something waiting for the async function.
Yes, async and await are together, and we need to use. If we are using async, then we need to use await inside it.
Okay, okay, correct. So if I want to get some data from the backend with
Mm.
the JavaScript only, I don't
Mm.
use any other package or anything. So how can I do that?
Like, uh, create async function, and inside it we need to await, and we can use I think fetch API, or
Mhm.
if we are using jQuery, then dollar dot get.
Okay, yes, correct. Okay, so why we do need a arrow function in the JavaScript? What are the benefits over the normal function?
Arrow function, it's similar to kind of any function, but it is another way of representing, like it's a better, I mean a concise way of representing a function, but it has the benefit of this keyword, like it doesn't have its own this, but it takes the this from its context from which it is called.
Okay, any other use of this, not the this, not the
Mm.
arrow function. So
Mm.
is arrow function also going to hoist?
Arrow function going to no, it will not.
So I'm pasting some small code in a chat. So
Mm.
just tell me so what it will be.
Extend by 100.
Okay, and still it is a constant object, then can we do?
Yes, object and arrays, it's like if you're creating it references to that memory
Hmm.
allocation. So within that memory allocation, if you are changing anything, that should be.
Yes. Okay. I'm pasting some small code again. So yeah.
Not function. Function console dot log of 10 0. Okay. Let console. Okay, first for loop will be executing. It returns 0, 1, 2,
Hmm.
and then the set timeout 10 will come.
Okay, and why?
Because set timeout is asynchronous, it will be pushed to the event loop, and like the JavaScript will run from one after the other all the lines. So it moves to the for loop next, and it runs it, and because it doesn't find any other line or any other thing post that, it brings the set back into the call stack, and then it runs this.
Yes. Okay. So have you heard about event delegation in JavaScript?
Mm, yes, like if
Mhm.
we have a event on the parent, then we can access it from the child target. We can, I mean, for example, if in a list elements or all the list elements, if I have written a event on the main parent on the list UL or something, then if I click on, for example, if I have written a click event, if I click on
Mhm.
the LI item, then I can get that the event has been triggered on that particular target item. And I can get the target name.
Okay. Okay. So what is immediately invoked function in JavaScript?
If you write a function and add after that function the parenthesis, then you are invoking that function immediately. Like wherever you are defining it, you are immediately invoking that function rather than calling that function somewhere else
Okay.
to execute that function.
Okay. So any other use of this?
Use means I'm not sure, but like if we want to invoke anything immediately, yes, we can use it.
Okay.
Like
So
if we don't want to reuse that function somewhere else.
okay. So if we have one variable inside immediately invoke function,
Hmm.
okay, suppose x equal to 10,
Okay.
but before moving to different page from that page, you have to update that value with x equal to 15. How can you do that then?
I didn't get you. Like
Okay,
within
see,
that function, I will update it.
no, see, oh, you have immediately invoke function, okay.
Mm.
Inside that you have one variable where
Okay.
x equal to, sorry, let x equal to 10, okay.
Okay.
So as soon as that file runs, that page runs, it will assign that value to let. Okay.
Yes.
Now what I'm asking, when you are navigating to different page or
Mm.
something, you want to update that value with x equal to 15. So that I'm asking, how can we do that? Can we access that let variable from immediate invoke function?
I think no, we cannot.
Do you know what is closures?
Oh, yes.
Okay, what it is?
Like if we have a function inside another function, then the inner function remembers its scope
Hmm.
always from where it has been declared. So it remembers the outer variables as well, even if I have called somewhere else.
Okay, so can we use closures for that?
Yeah, I think yes, that's what I'm thinking. So maybe call that inner function somewhere else to change that let variable value.
Yes. Okay. What is debouncing and throttling?
I'm not sure. I haven't
No
used it.
problem. No problem. Okay, we'll move to HTML.
Okay.
So tell me, what is the difference between session storage and local storage?
Like those are the storages in the web API. Like for example, session storage means the storage that I mean we can store some key value pairs that gets retained until that browser tab is closed. So
Mhm.
and so it maintains the data, that storage information, until that for one particular browser tab. If you are opening another browser tab, then it has its own session storage. Whereas local storage is like it's throughout, but we need to explicitly clear it off if we have to remove that. Like it can be used within multiple tabs as well.
Okay. So, okay. So if I use a footer above header in the HTML, then what will happen?
It's not a problem, but it's like these tags, footer or header, are semantic tags, which like when you read a HTML document, those give some meaning to them. But it doesn't mean that we need to use only this above or this below. But it's just for our readability or something.
Okay. So what are the web workers do we have? Do you know any web workers?
No, I haven't read.
Okay. Okay. We'll move to CSS. So with Angular, what type of CSS extension you are using?
SAS, CSS I have used.
Okay. So what is CSS?
Mm, I don't know the full form or something, but
No, no. I'm
like
asking features, not the full form.
yeah, okay. So it is like you can create some variables, you can create mixins in them to reuse those mixins across. This is one of the functionality that we have.
Yes. Any other preprocessors do you know of CSS?
Less is one more thing is there.
Yes. Okay. So, yeah. So can you write down some small example to create a div at the center of the page?
Okay,
You can
so
share your screen.
oh, is my screen getting shared?
Yes, yes.
Can I do it here only in the mid chat or
No,
no?
no. Open online editor. I cannot see your screen. It is blank
Is
showing.
it? Sharing it already. Screen share desktop. Is it getting shared now?
Yes.
Okay. For example, I have this. Okay, I have this tab already. Mm, I have this body.
You can remove this. We don't require it.
I can put this styles. Okay. For example, I have. Mm, now I have my div. It should be background color, for example, blue, and I want to center align, so I can use position absolute. I think top 50 and left 50. Maybe it will. Yes.
Is it really center of the page?
Mm, yeah, top 50, left 50. Otherwise, I think we can translate x and y. Um, mm, yeah.
505 you have written.
Mm.
Okay.
So it
Any
will translate with x and y. Yeah.
yeah, any other method do you know?
In that case, like
No, just tell me. You don't need to
uh,
write.
we can create use flexbox like for
Hmm.
this display flex align items to center, justify content. I think to center.
Okay. Okay. What is the specificity in CSS?
Like the kind of things that we use to specify CSS, like ID, we can define the selectors for the CSS, like its name, ID, class, etc. If we are specifying with ID, then it has a higher specificity. So that takes more precedence over class specifier or something. So
Okay.
if we want that to be particularly coming in for sure, I mean, if that is not aligned, then we can increase the specificity.
Yes. Okay.